season. I think Josko Guardiola, likely to play at left back with Rico Lewis suspended, is also out of sorts. I think really what they need on Sunday is natural width, and Ahmad and Rashford and Garnacho on the bench can certainly supply that.
It's interesting though with Rashford, isn't it? Because in his initial games, Ruben Amorim, he was playing him through the middle once again, a position really where we hadn't seen Rashford for a long time. Scott, you're saying though that you don't see enough from him there. You'd rather see him in a different position.
I don't personally. I think, you know, in the number 9, although you could argue you haven't got anyone at United who could play quite that number 9 position, but in the way that Amorim wants him to. Højlund probably is the closest to it, and I think he's a big talent, but he's still very young, and I think almost been fast-tracked a little bit too much to be playing for the likes of one of the biggest clubs in the world. As that number 9, that shirt weighs heavy. You need experience there. I don't think you've got it in Xerxes either. Marcus Rashford, for me, you need to rely on that number 9 so much. I don't think you can rely on him, but we know he's capable of moments, capable of brilliance. And, you know, Ruud Gullit used to say to us back in the day at Chelsea, I want you to do 2 things that can affect the game. And I think in that number 10 position, that suits Marcus Rashford more than it does in being a number 9. But look, he's still rotating, he's still looking at the players, he's still managing their fitness, as well as getting them to know exactly how he wants them to play. So again, no real surprise, there's rotation here tonight.
Crookie, it's been an interesting week off the field, to say the least, for Manchester United. The dismissal of the sporting director, Dan Ashworth, that news was revealed last Sunday. In your eyes, what do you think was behind it all?
I think ultimately it comes down to a clash of personalities between Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada, the chief executive. I think there was a disagreement when it came to the direction of travel in terms of who should succeed Erik ten Hag. I think Dan Ashworth favoured an English manager, the likes of Gareth Southgate, or at least someone with Premier League experience in the mould of Thomas Frank. Clearly, Barada, Jason Wilcox and today Brailsford honed in on Ruben Amorim, which in itself is fascinating, because I'm told by a very reliable source that Amorim was presented to United in the summer when they were looking to potentially replace Ten Hag, and they said that his style of play, particularly this formation, didn't suit the squad. A few months later, obviously they changed their minds on that. So I think if you're sporting director and you don't get a say, maybe if you don't get the overall say on who the new manager is going to be, you're pretty much surplus to requirements. And I think in the end, Dan Ashworth was as happy to leave United as they were to get rid of him.
Scott, is this situation an embarrassment for Ineos, do you think? Or is it the other side of the coin? Is it swift and decisive? They recognised the problem early on, they've realised this relationship isn't working, and they've dealt with it.
Look, you could certainly argue that, but I think it's an embarrassment. I mean, you do your due diligence on someone and realise what he's about, and especially when you're getting them out of Newcastle, and you know he's got to do gardening leave. You've got to make sure if you're waiting for somebody, and it's not as if he hasn't made any contact at all. Let's not be naive about this, but they must have known what he was like, and then suddenly to come in. I mean, it's one thing to say someone's really good at his job and we think he can fit into it, but it's not until you actually go there on a day-to-day basis and see how these relationships can work. I mean, you can't always work from home, can you? And you've got to come into the office and have these face-to-face meetings, and clearly it's not worked. But I've actually heard Crookie say before that it is a bit of an embarrassment. I can't quite remember if he used that word, but I
said it was about time they put a circus tent above Old Trafford on Sunday morning.
There you go. As ever, he's gone a step further, isn't he? But, you know, he's absolutely spot on. I just think, and everything that Ineos has done, I mean, the United fans are crying out for the right people, and Glazer's sort of taking a back seat, and we thought that Sir Jim would come in, and it looks like on paper, with the people he's brought in away from the football pitch and that can get the recruitment in will be the right people. You know, on paper it looks like it could work, but just the decisions that he's made and Ineos has made, I'm not so sure about it. And there's a lot of pressure on them in terms of whether Ruben Amorim works or not. I personally think, and with my contacts in Portugal, he's one of the outstanding young coaches in world football. But again, is he able to turn this Manchester United Titanic around? It's going to take time. He should be given time, but we know what it's like with the media and social media. And, you know, heard Benty saying there that he thought he'd be doing a little bit better by now. Already people are sort of saying, well, you know, he should be doing better. I think that's really, really harsh. He's getting to know the players. He's getting them to know the system as well. He's understanding who he can and can't change. And I think of what I know of him as well, not just is he a very good coach, he's a very good man manager. He's young, he can relate to the people. And what do you want from managers? You want them to win games. How do you do that? You find the right system, and you also get the best out of each individual player on an individual basis. And I think he's more than capable of doing that.
And he's in charge of a big game tonight for Manchester United as well in the Czech Republic. Let's get the latest odds ahead of kick-off with William Hill.
In the Zone on TalkSport 2 with William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Alex Dunn joins us from William Hill. Alex, very good evening to you. What odds can we get then for this game, Viktoria Plzen against Manchester United?
Plzen are 24 to 5, the draw 16 to 5. Manchester United short price favourites at 11 to 20. Loads and loads of markets available, including right now Fernandes to have a shot on target and commit over one foul. That's been boosted to 5 to 1. Which does look pretty nice. You can also take advantage of your Bet Builder winnings boost here. 25% boost on winning bet builders that are bigger than threes. How about this one? Both teams to score in the game, because I don't trust Manchester United to keep a clean sheet at the minute. Marcus Rashford to score and Bruno Fernandes to score or assist. Put them together, 6 to 1. Use your boost. 8 to 1. Not bad at all on what should be a pretty entertaining game.
It should indeed. Alex Dunn, thank you very much indeed. Those are the very latest odds. Thanks to William Hill.
In the Zone on TalkSport 2 with William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Just under 6 minutes away from kick-off in the Czech Republic. Let's hear from the Manchester United manager, Ruben Amorim, who was asked this week what he was aiming for in the dugout. He says he's aiming to win the league with the club, not just settle for the top 4.
I, as a coach, I cannot focus just on that, the way we can see in the future titles or something. I think that our goal is to win the Premier League. That is our goal. Of course, you can do the math and you understand that for a big club like us to be in the Champions League is so important. And then you can look at the table and you can see that from Europa League maybe is easier. That you can take this information for this context, but I'm not focused on that. Our goal is to win the Premier League, not just to go to Champions League. To go to Champions League is an important point to win the Premier League. That is really clear, but for me, the most important thing is to win and to see something different in the team in every game.
Scott Minto, I mean, of course it's the kind of ambition that the fans will want to hear. It's where they want to see their beloved Manchester United once again. But if we're being honest, this season it doesn't look like something that's going to be achievable. Manchester United sit in 13th place. But in the Europa League, given that they're 12th in the standings, yet to lose in this competition, how achievable is winning the Europa League this season?
Oh, I think it's very achievable if he can turn it around. You know, it's a cup competition. It's not as if, you know, you have to go on this real consistent league run. And you're right, it's not going to happen obviously this year with the Premier League. But if they can win the Europa League and get into the Champions League, then that then attracts the right type of players to try and kick on beyond that, because there's no doubt about it, Manchester United is still one of the biggest clubs in the world, but it's by far and away a million miles from being one of the best teams in the world. And the way to do that is step by step and get into the Champions League, attract those players. Yes, United fans, I've got one alongside me as well, I'm sure will be delighted to hear that that's the aim. That's where Manchester United should be aiming for. But I think they're also realistic enough to know that that's still medium to long term. It's nowhere near the short term.
Well, the teams are making their way out of the tunnel. You're listening to the Europa Conference League live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent a Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. OK, don't forget, you can listen to live coverage of Rangers against Tottenham in the Europa League tonight. All the build-up from 7 o'clock on TalkSport following this game. Just download the app for free and swipe between the stations. So much live football this weekend too. Derby take on Portsmouth on Friday night in the Championship here on TalkSport 2, with Preston against Leeds, your early kickoff on Saturday. And mark your card for Sunday night. Southampton against Tottenham will be live on TalkSport with kickoff at 7 o'clock, while here on TalkSport 2 you can listen to Chelsea against Brentford, which is not on UK TV, by the way. That one also gets underway at 7. Right now, though, Manchester United are in action. They're hoping to kick on their Europa League campaign in the Czech Republic. It's been another turbulent week off the field. They've suffered back-to-back defeats. Can Ruben Amorim set things straight with a win on the continent to keep everything in check? Taking you through this one, the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. But first, your match commentator, Alex Crook.
Thank you, Ollie. A very good evening, everybody. Manchester United fans have come to the home of Pilsner to drown their sorrows after a woeful season so far. Ruben Amorim's hopes of a champagne start to life in the Old Trafford dugout have gone flat. With those two successive Premier League defeats, he never before in his managerial career lost 3 in a row. Amorim is desperate to avoid that and desperate for a victory tonight to get his recently inherited team back on course for a top 8 finish to ensure their chances of going straight into the round of 16 are, be it today, gone tomorrow. Scott Minto, this is a huge night, isn't it, for Manchester United?
I'm still recovering from that joke, Rookie. No, it is massive. You know, we look at the table, and this is where it's like the business end of the league table, isn't it? If they were to lose this and other teams win, then suddenly they've probably got to win their final 2 games, as simple as that. Whereas if they get that win, they can get towards that top 8, then they can just manage it. And there's no doubt about it from a playing point of view. You are thinking with such a big game of the weekend, just a little bit ahead. But right now, in these conditions, the way that Pilsen play at home, how difficult they are to beat, this is a very, very tough one. And if it's too much thinking of City ahead, then they will get hurt tonight.
-1 in Pilsen tonight, according to some TalkSport pundits. Marcus Rashford should be given the cold shoulder by Manchester United. He comes back into the team amongst 5 changes from that defeat in the Premier League at home to Forest on Saturday. Mazraoui, Casemiro, Malacia and Xerxes also reinstated as the Manchester United players gather in a pre-match huddle. They'll be lining up with Onana in goal, keen no doubt to bounce back from his blunder at the weekend. Mazraoui, De Ligt and Martinez in the back 3. Dalot and Malacia, the 2 wing-backs. Fernandes dropped into midfield alongside Casemiro. And then it's Ahmad, Rashford and Xerxes in attack. As for Pilsen, one name you'll be familiar with, Premier League fans, Mate Vidra, once of Watford and Burnley, is part of their starting 11. And it is Manchester United, all in white, shooting from left to right in this first half, who get us off and underway. And a big, big night of European action. Across the TalkSport network, we've got Rangers against Tottenham, that Battle of Britain, over on TalkSport later on this evening. Already Chelsea comfortable winners in their Conference League game away from home in Astana. Can United get those 3 points on the board? It's Xerxes who gets us off and underway. Job number 1 as ever away from home in Europe will be to silence a vociferous home crowd. And they've been so excited in Pilsen about the visit of United. They've even made a special edition beer. The mayor was on hand to greet the team. And they had a police escort from their hotel, despite the fact they were only staying 300 yards down the road. Manchester United, despite all their recent travails, they are still one of the biggest draws in European football. De Ligt out to Martinez. One of the big criticisms, Scott, of this back 3 so far is that they don't move the ball quickly enough. Will that be something that Amorim will be urging them to change this evening?
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly in the medium to long term. I think tonight, where you touched on it, you quieten the crowd. You know, very, very loud here, difficult conditions, it is cold. What they want to try and do, obviously, ideally, is to try and get the early goal, but even if they can't do that, just pass the ball and, you know, keep the ball and get this crowd to be coming down a decibel or 2, because, you know, as I say, if they are able to get the first goal, Pilsen, then they will certainly be a very difficult team to beat.
Diego Dalot taking a throw deep inside the Manchester United half of the field. It's over the head of Marcus Rashford, collected on the edge of the Pilsen penalty area by their goalkeeper Martin Jedlicka. He takes his time, rolls his studs over the top of the ball and then plays it diagonally out to this near left-hand side as we look. Mazraoui into the challenge and Ahmad comes away with the ball for Manchester United, finds his captain Fernandes. And then Tyrell Malacia, who's played very little football, none at all last season, switches the play to this right touchline again, and Mazraoui. Ahmad dropping deepest into midfield and then trying to pick out Malacia on the far side, but it was a careless pass which is easily intercepted. Fernandes lets the ball go over his head, and Vidra, the former Watford man, just rolls it forward. One back in midfield by Fernandes. No real pattern to the game as yet. Possession changing hands at rapid pace. Martinez, the Argentine World Cup winner, tries to change that, plays it back to Matthijs de Ligt on the edge of the United penalty area, away to our left. Now Xerxes, that afro hair, drops into midfield. Rashford hugging the left touchline, wearing gloves on a frosty evening into the feet of Ahmad. Beat one Pilsen defender, couldn't beat the second. And then a foul conceded by Martinez on Vidra, right on the edge of the centre circle. And it's a free kick for the host, 0-0.
Yeah, it's interesting watching Xerxes come off. He's a different type of player to Højlund, isn't he? Who I think likes to get the ball in behind and run onto it, use his pace. Xerxes not as quick. So if he is going to be dropping off, it's really important that Rashford or Ahmed are the ones who are getting in behind there. I'm really looking forward to seeing Ahmed playing inside and see if he can get on the ball and be that number 10 alongside Marcus Rashford to really make the difference, rather than be out on the wing as the wing back and wait for the ball to come to you. He's been very good already, you know, he's very, very sharp, there's no doubt about that, but I think this would be his favourite position.
He had a good night, didn't he, earlier in the campaign in this competition. 2 goals against PAOK when Ruud van Nistelrooy was in charge. Amad Diallo in talks with United about extending his contract, seen very much as a key part of the Ruben Amorim rebuild, the latest rebuild that United have undergone in recent years. Here's Rashford, that's a poor touch from him. Cheaply gives the ball away in the Pilsen right back position, and then Bruno Fernandes steps in and pokes it back to Martinez to ensure that not much damage is done.
I think it just shows the lack of form really that Rashford's in. It's not as if he wasn't trying there, he's looking up, he's seeing what's around, but and when things are going, you can have your head up and you know exactly how to touch the ball. And there he had his head up, and it was a terrible touch, really, wasn't it? Giving the ball away.
The ball back on halfway with Martinez. 0-0. You're listening to TalkSport 2 on this busy European night. Busy week it's been, hasn't it? Brought you Manchester City's defeat in Turin last night. Arsenal's comfortable home win over Monaco. We were with Aston Villa in Leipzig. Gabi Akpom enjoying his travels on Tuesday evening.
Did he get his suitcase back, by the way?
I didn't know he'd lost it.
Yeah, he lost it, yeah. He wasn't having British Airways at all.
You can imagine he told the airport staff they were miles off it when that went missing. Here's Anana, rolls the ball out to Mazraoui, the Moroccan international, on the edge of the United area. It's very one-paced at the moment. Casemiro forward to Xerxes. Good touch from him. Gets away from his man, Joshua Xerxes, and races towards the penalty area. He's still going here, Xerxes. Can he get a shot away? This would be a magnificent goal. In the end, he tried to cut the ball back for Marcus Rashford, and sliding in to turn it behind for a corner was Samson Duet. Brilliant feat from Xerxes. I'm not sure he knew completely what he was doing, but it almost paid off.
It was an incredible run. You know, I talked about how he hasn't got the pace of Højlund, and yet he somehow kind of bounced his way through 3 or 4 players. Showed great composure at the end, but just by going past the last defender, took himself away from goal, really. And as he tried to play the ball in, it was well defended from Pilsen, but a good run from him.
6 minutes play. Pilsen 0, Manchester United 0 in the Europa League. Amad Diallo about to take the game's first corner from this near right-hand side. The referee just delaying it being taken. Dallo and De Ligt amongst the United defenders who've been summoned forward. They've made a habit of conceding from set pieces in the past couple of matches. Could they potentially profit from one here? Diallo in the pink footwear puts his right arm in the air and plays it in left-footed. That's a woeful delivery, cleared at the near post. Out for a Manchester United throw on this near touchline, it stays goalless.
Well, say what you want to say about Arsenal and the set pieces. They've shown how crucial that they can be. And when you get that chance to put the ball in the right place, you've got to beat the first man. That was a really poor corner.
United dominating possession, without carving out too many chances of note so far. Andre Onana, all in yellow, has come a long way off his line to get involved in the play. He's picked up the ball now inside the D on the edge of the penalty area. Plays it out to the right-hand side of Mazraoui. Low ball into Amad Diallo. He was upended by the Pilsen captain, Lucas Kalvac, and it's a free kick for United just inside their own half. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. And that's cheaply given away by Joshua Xerxes. And Pilsen will come forward with Lucas serve. He's upended. And a free kick here, maybe within shooting range. Not for the first time tonight, Manchester United guilty of not looking after the ball properly, and Bruno Fernandes, in trying to stop the quick counter, slides in and probably is fortunate to escape a booking.
I was just about to say, he's very lucky not to get a yellow card there. He's nowhere near the ball at all. And he's just stopped an attack, and I think he knew. He looked at the referee to see if a card would come out. It didn't, but it was a really poor pass from Xerxes, first of all. You've got to look after you. Again, and we talk about that number 9. It's such a key position, especially for a club like Manchester United. If you're going to be the lone striker, you need to be able to hold the ball up and not give the ball away. That's exactly what he did. And now, I'd say they're in a really dangerous position, but a chance to stick the ball into the box.
Yeah, it is too far out for a shot. And about midway inside the United half, just to the right of centre. Kovac, the captain, is going to chip it into the penalty area. Now has come a long way and he's missed it. I think he may even have collided with his own man, Casemiro. It came off a Plzen head, but no real power on it. But once again, Andre Onana there, leaving his goal line, and Casemiro looks in a lot of discomfort, Scott Minto.
Yeah, and the players are going to him, and he's just sort of saying, just leave me alone. But it was a ball, a difficult ball, I'm sure. It would have been offside.
He's absolutely kiboshed him, hasn't he, Casemiro, as he, Onana, as he came flying out there.
Do you know what, though, Crookie? I don't mind that. I don't mind you coming out and get your own, even if you get your own player, but you've got to make sure you get the ball. You know, you want your goalkeeper to be so commanding that sometimes, you know, this type of thing can happen. Very brave from Casemiro. We know he's actually good in the air, isn't he, and can score goals with his head. Obviously trying to help out his team here. I don't mind a goalkeeper just basically coming through and scaring everybody, but you've got to get the ball, and he didn't.
Casemiro down, receiving treatment, so an opportunity for me to tell you about some of the live football we've got coming your way over the next few days. Over on Talk Sport at 8 o'clock this evening, Rangers against Tottenham. Ange Postecoglou guaranteed of a hot reception. The former Celtic manager taking his Spurs side to Ibrox tomorrow night. Here on Talk Sport 2, we've got Derby against Portsmouth in the Championship. That's also an 8 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Live on Talk Sport, Preston against Leeds from the Championship on 12:30 here on Talk Sport 2. We have Coventry Hull, 3 o'clock on Talk Sport 2. A live and exclusive Premier League offering is Arsenal against Everton. 10 minutes gone here, 0-0 between Plzen and Manchester United. Casemiro able to continue as a cross is played in from the left into the Manchester United area, and Xerxes trying to pass his way out, has only given possession back to the home team. Here is Czech Soiree coming down the left-hand side, and Mazraoui with no choice but to just run the ball out for a throw, level with his own penalty area.
The thing is, these are difficult conditions, not necessarily because it's cold, although that can add to it, but the pitch is quite bobbly, so if you want to play that passing out from the back, the passes have to be absolutely spot on. We've already seen Xerxes give the ball away, where Bruno Fernandes was lucky not to get a yellow card, so again, it's one of those nights where you've got to play to the conditions. If it's on, play it, but if it's not, make sure you don't make a mistake.
Plzen manager Miroslav Kubek just come out to issue some instructions. He admitted yesterday he's a boyhood Manchester United fan, used to idolise Wayne Rooney. So a big night for him as well, as a long throw comes into the Manchester United area. Onana comes and only half punches it clear again. Very unconvincing from the goalkeeper, and it's left to Malacia to volley it clear left-footed. It's been a difficult start to the evening for Onana, fresh from that mistake at the weekend, and Plzen coming forward again. Cross from the right-hand side, cleared by Martinez, and then Bruno Fernandes just lays it off to Malacia. Can't get out here, Manchester United, against the team's second in the Czech League. Deep cross into their penalty area. Dalot lets it sail over his head, brings it down in the right-back position, and then exchanges passes with Mazraoui. Dalot with a left-footed ball into midfield. Better there from United. Fernandes is going to try and play it long, looking for the pace of Rashford, intercepted by the Plzen captain Kovac, and they're back in possession down the left-hand side with Soiree. He goes long upfield. Mazraoui's going to have to deal with that aerial ball, plays it down the right wing to Dalot. Dalot back in field to Mazraoui once more. They're hunting in packs here, the Plzen players, every time a Manchester United player is in possession. There's a red shirt in very close proximity.
Good ball though from Dalot, wasn't it? Just inside to Bruno Fernandes, was able to turn on it, and he was trying to play that ball over the top, which if it had have made it, Marcus Rashford would have been chasing them through on goal as well. When Xerxes just drops in, as I say, either Rashford or Ahmed need to try and go in behind, and I actually think Xerxes is more of a number 10 than a number 9, and can do well in this position, but it's a lot of number 10s that Manchester United have, potentially.
Dalot forward to Xerxes, holds it up neatly under pressure, tries to roll it forward for Ahmad, didn't quite find him. Fernandes keeps United on the front foot. Ahmad forward to the Portuguese. Fernandes with a pullback, cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box, but that was a decent attack, and then Dalot in trying to win the ball back. It's just caught Suarez with the elbow. It's going to be a free kick for Plzen in their left-back position. It stays goalless. We played 13 minutes.
Yeah, I wonder whether the referee's assistant has given it for a goal kick because the ball went out. And why didn't he just do that straight away? But look, it's been a decent start from United. First of all, they haven't conceded. Second of all, they have had most of the possession. They haven't created too many chances, but they've been the better of the two sides so far. As I say, it is only just coming up to 15 minutes on the clock, but so far so good.
Ball played forward by the Plzen goalkeeper Jedlicka. One back by Casemiro, has been dragged to the ground. So it's a free kick for Manchester United, just on the edge of the centre circle. Casemiro doesn't seem to be feeling any ill effects to that challenge from his own goalkeeper Onana that left him down in a heap inside the area. The 5 times Champions League winner. Did once score here actually in a 5-1 victory for Real Madrid in that competition, Casemiro. He is Matthijs de Ligt, the youngest player ever to play in a Europa League final, part of the Ajax side beaten by Jose Mourinho's Manchester United back in 2017. He plays the ball forward looking for Dalot, well defended by Suarez, slides in and clears the ball for a throw.
I think it shows what the pitch is like though, doesn't it? He slides in there first and it's could easily have done his knee and twisted his knee. The pitch is completely dug up.
Yeah, not easy conditions at all. Coming away in Europe this time of year often has its own challenges. That's better from Rashford, cutting in field and then just chipping a ball out to this right-hand side, and Dalot midway inside the Plzen half, back to Casemiro in the central midfield position. Now de Ligt inside the centre circle. Plays it forward to Bruno Fernandes. 15 gone. Plzen 0, Manchester United 0. Here on TalkSport 2. Amad Diallo confidently sprays the ball out to the left-hand side to Martinez. Quite a few of the United players, Martinez included, wearing gloves tonight. Here is Rashford, attacking down the left-hand side, cuts inside on his right foot, finds Malacia, can't backheel the ball back to Rashford, so Plzen will clear it away. Martinez should win it back for Manchester United, and then it's played against Bruno Fernandes out for a throw, and the captain shows his frustration.
Yeah, just a little bit scrappy the game at the moment, isn't it? You see United trying to get on the ball, but not able to really get some passes going. And again, it is down to the pitch. But with Plzen being so strong at home, I think Ruben Amorim would be pretty happy with what's happened so far. Just can they convert this possession into chances and then chances into a goal?
They don't usually have problems scoring away from home in Europe, Manchester United. It's defending a lead. Even if you go back to their ill-fated Champions League campaign last season, they scored plenty of goals on the road, but really struggled to win. Ended up finishing bottom of a group that included Copenhagen, which in itself is an achievement. And despite their struggles in the Premier League this season, their worst ever start in that competition, they are unbeaten in all 8 of the cup games they've played. They've got a quarter-final in the EFL Cup against Tottenham live on TalkSport next Thursday, and if they win this one with a home game against Rangers and then a trip to Bucharest to come, you would fancy them to cement themselves in the top 8 and salvage something from their early season woes. Here's Onana. He's played his clearance straight against Vachelin. Could have gone anywhere off the Plzen striker, and it bounces harmlessly wide to this left-hand side, but another nervy moment for Andre Onana. Doesn't look at all comfortable, the Manchester United goalkeeper, as Mazraoui wins it back inside the penalty area and then gives it away on the edge of the box. Sliding in there was Casemiro to win it back, and then it's a drilled shot high over Onana's crossbar from Lucas Serve in midfield. 0-0.
He looks like he's definitely suffering in confidence, isn't he, the United keeper? Trying to get the ball, trying to act as if he's cool. But Vachelin very nearly got in. If he had done, it would have been a simple tap-in, open goal.
I did wonder when I was planning for this game tonight if it might be the opportunity for outside Bayındır, the 6'6" Turkish international. It's been limited to just 2 League Cup appearances so far this season, but with that mistake that Onana made at the weekend, I know he's rated highly Bayındır. I wondered if it might be an opportunity to throw him in, but Onana keeps his place, and he has made a nervy start to the game. 18 on the clock, 0-0. In Plzen, around about 48 miles from Prague. Here's Xerxes, left edge of the penalty area. Couldn't get the ball out from under his start, and it's cleared away by the goalkeeper Jedlicka once more, and picked up on halfway by Matthijs de Ligt. De Ligt will go back to Onana, wearing those blue boots, the Cameroonian. He plays it out to the edge of the penalty area, and Mazraoui. It's all a bit tentative, a bit safe from Manchester United at this moment in time. Not really what many of these travelling fans have grown up watching.
No, but it's not an easy place to come, Cooker. We've already talked about that, and this is far from the United side that the United fans, yourself included, grown up watching. It's okay, so far so good.
Here's Rashford. Infield to Bruno Fernandes, slightly behind the captain, but he keeps possession. Rashford wants it back to his left-hand side. Fernandes goes short to Casemiro, who backheels it into Rashford. Xerxes wanted Rashford to continue his run. He played the first time pass. Rashford had stopped, and that allowed Plzen to get it clear. Back with Martinez now, just inside the Plzen half. 19 on the clock, and it's 0-0. Here's Tyrell Malacia, raiding down the left, coming in field, finding Casemiro, around about 15 yards from goal. Decent ball out to Dalot. Dalot heads it towards the penalty spot. Xerxes couldn't get there, ahead of Václav Jamelka. Now Mazraoui back to Casemiro once more. United trying to move the ball a little bit quicker in the last 60 seconds or so. Back to de Ligt though. They're going to build again from the heart of that three-man defence that Amorim has made his trademark. Brought him so much success in Portugal. Here is the Argentine Martinez once more, well over the halfway line. Forward to Malacia, a little step over from Rashford because he got the shout from Xerxes, but the captain Kovac wins it back only momentarily. Martinez quickly regains possession for Manchester United.
I think it's one of those games where, as much as you want to see United so much on top and creating chances, again, we talked about the conditions, the weather, we've talked about the pitch, we've talked about how difficult they are to beat in this place, Plzen. You know, I'm sure United fans will take a very scrappy 1-0 win, and what I would say, without them creating too many chances, is they are dominating the board at the moment, and that's what they want to do.
It's a very different opening 20 minutes to that harum-scarum game against Bodo Glimt, Amorim's first European game as United manager. They won 3-2 in the end, but gave up plenty of chances.
Let me tell you, Bodo Glimt at home are a very good side as well, so if that had been United going there, I wouldn't have fancied them. So to play at Old Trafford, I think has done them a real favour. Now we're in a difficult place again. You know, can they find a way to win? As I say, they're dominating the ball at the moment and possession without creating too many chances, but this is what we can hope for at the moment.
I think it's helpful as well. That game against Rangers in a few weeks' time is also at Old Trafford. Even though they're not going great guns domestically, Ibrox on a big European night, as Tottenham will probably find out later on TalkSport, is not an easy assignment.
Absolutely.
Onana forward to Xerxes, poor touch from him, and it's immediately won back by Jamelka, who plays it back to the edge of his own penalty area, and the goalkeeper Jedlicka. 6 clean sheets in 18 games in all competitions this season for him, and he goes long upfield looking for Vidra. Lovely pluck from the sky, and then Vidra into the penalty area, trying to get away from Martinez, cuts the cross back. It's easily dealt with by Casemiro. Now Xerxes trying to hold the ball up, does well. Fernandes forward to Ahmad. He's got Rashford and Fernandes in support. Opts to go to his left and Rashford, when maybe Fernandes was the better option. And then Rashford's attempt at a cross is absolutely terrible. Lashes it over the crossbar, looks to the ground in frustration, but the ball, Scott, should have been out to Fernandes on the right, shouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. He was in. I mean, first of all, it's really good play from Xerxes. We talked about how important it is to hold the ball up, and he did that. And Ahmed almost just seeing Marcus at the side of his eye. And I don't know if it's one of those, and sometimes you do get it when you come into a side and, you know, you almost look up to someone, you want to give them the ball as much as possible. But definitely Bruno Fernandes was more in if it had looked the other side.
The reaction's telling though, isn't it? As soon as he's made a hash of the cross, he looks down at the pitch, he looks forlorn. Marcus Rashford. If you compare that to the Marcus Rashford of old, it was 9 years ago in February that he made his debut in this competition. He scored twice against Midtjylland. He was a fresh-faced kid. He had a big smile on his face. He looked delighted to be playing for Manchester United. Now he looks like he'd rather be anywhere else.
How long do you want to talk about Marcus Rashford for? Because we could talk for hours, couldn't we? You know, I do feel for him to a point. I don't think he's had any good senior pros in the dressing room to really look up to. But at the same time, it's down to him to sort it out.
Here's Ahmad, racing towards the penalty area. Cuts in on his left foot. Can he get a shot away? Deflected. Makes it a little bit awkward for the goalkeeper. But he gets under the ball, Jedlicka, and pats it down and then gathers at the second or third time of asking.
I mean, I played against the likes of Keane, Scholes, Giggs, Beckham, you know, Kanchelskis as well, and Mark Hughes and Cantona. Now, imagine all those in the dressing room, what they would have said to Mark as he was coming through and maybe getting a little bit in the spotlight, you know, making sure that he was absolutely bang on it day after day after day, and he hasn't really had that. So really it's got to come from within now. And he hasn't got too much longer. He's 27 years of age.
He's just given the ball away again. Marcus Rashford, and put his team under trouble. Martinez gets there to usher it back to Onana. We've played 24 minutes. It's Plzen 0. Manchester United 0 in the Europa League. You'll listen to TalkSport 2 in the company of the former FA Cup winner with Chelsea, Scott Minter, myself, Alex Crook. Here is Bruno Fernandes. Comes raiding down the left for United. He's got Malacia ahead of him. Rashford's come infield. Fernandes with the side forward pass to Casemiro. Now Dalot coming in from the right touchline. He's got Ahmad ahead of him. Ahmad with room to turn 10 yards outside the penalty area, but no real movement from the white shirts around Ahmad, so he comes back for Mazraoui, and then Casemiro puts Fernandes in trouble, and Plzen have it back with their captain Kalvac, who will come forward. Malacia does well, facing his own goal, regains possession. Malacia making his third start of the Amorim era, had a difficult night against Bodo Glimt in that Europa League game I was talking about, was taken off at half-time, played well at Arsenal, actually, got a yellow card in the first half and again didn't come back out for the second half. I wonder if he might last a bit longer this evening. Brings a bit of natural balance, doesn't he, with Dalot moving across to the right-hand side, Malacia on the left, still no Luke Shaw in the travelling party due to injury.
Such a key word in a team, balance. It really is, as we saw with England in the Euros. There's no balance there. I just think you got Dalot on one side, on the right-hand side, Malacia on the left. It does give that balance.
Here's Ahmad. Spreads the play out to the right, and Dalot. Manchester United dominating possession, but still the goalkeeper, Jedlicka, hasn't really had a save to make. Fernandes in the centre of the Viktoria Plzen half. 0-0 the score on TalkSport 2. De Ligt will bring it forward, the Dutchman. Out to Rashford, first time layoff to Martinez. Everybody in a white shirt over the halfway line. Back with De Ligt, and now Martinez looks up, and it's these sideways passes across the back three that we saw a lot against Forest at the weekend. Rashford with a little flick, gives it away again in midfield, wins it back to his credit, this time Marcus Rashford, and Ahmad leaves it for Fernandes to come sauntering forward. Bruno Fernandes running towards the penalty area, had options, he ran into trouble, but United still have possession. Ahmad's been hauled over then. Another cheap free kick to concede from Vaclav Jamelka, and an opportunity for the visitors to load up the penalty area. 0-0.
The thing is, I mean, we talked about Rashford just gave the ball away there. There comes a point where, you know, a pass, you've got to try and look forward. And that's what he was trying to do, a little flick that didn't come off. I don't mind that, as long as, you know, you've got that kind of protection. Or if Plzen come on the counter-attack, Bruno Fernandes just tried something similar and gave the ball away. We can't criticise him for trying things, but at the same time he's got to try things at the right time and just show that body language to be spot on.
Fernandes to play in the free kick, right-footed, Xerxes got something on it, Casemiro stuck out a leg, couldn't get there. It's behind for a goal kick. Xerxes looks up to the heavens, maybe could have made a cleaner connection on the header. Maybe Casemiro should have gambled a bit more. Martinez was in there as well. That was a wicked delivery from Fernandes, not really made the most of.
He's so good at set pieces, Fernandes, isn't he? And he's jumped up Xerxes, and he's kind of missed it. Slices of flicks. If he gets a proper connection on it, then who knows? He was still quite far out, and the keeper would have had time to try and dive. But good ball in again. Set pieces very important in tight games, and this is certainly proving to be one.
So a cold night in Plzen, just as cold in Zurich, I'm told, where the draw for World Cup qualifying takes place tomorrow. Thomas Tuchel, despite the fact he doesn't start work until the new year, will be part of the FA contingent. So too will our England correspondent Faker, others, bringing you all the reaction. There's a possibility England could find themselves in the same group as some of the home nations. You'll be able to hear how that unfolds across the TalkSport network tomorrow, by which time Manchester United will hope to have had an away victory in the Europa League safely tucked away. They've never won in the Czech Republic though. 4th visit, 2 draws and defeat from their previous 3 excursions to this part of the world. We have 17 minutes of the first half to play, and we await the first goal as Malacia gives the ball away in the left-back position. Vidra linking up on that right-hand side. Good cross into the centre and a woeful touch from Vashelin. He was offside anyway. And the flag really spared his blushes because it was a decent delivery from the right wing. He got away from his marker. It was only just the wrong side of Martinez, the deepest of the United defence, and it bounces off his shin and behind for what would have been a goal kick.
Yeah, Caddo just did. Malacia there got half a yard and whipped it in. Vashelin should be looking along the line, or should realise where the United defenders are, but because he was kind of past the near post, he wouldn't have been able to do too much with it anyway. Yes. It just goes to show how dangerous they can be, Plzen.
Well, he scored 6 goals this season, Daniel Vashelin, in all competitions. And as much as we bemoan the lack of chances that United have carved out, the same can be said of Viktoria Plzen. They're a cagey game so far. They do usually score. In fact, they've scored in 15 of their last 16 Europa League home games. Only Slavia Prague, the leaders, have scored more goals than Plzen in the Czech League this season. So they do pose a threat coming forward. The ball is launched towards the Manchester United half of the field by Samson Duer. It's going to be a throw-in to be taken by Tyrell Malacia. 0-0 with half an hour gone. Chelsea comfortable winners in Astana as their domination of the Conference League continued here on TalkSport 2 earlier today, and we've got Rangers Tottenham coming up on TalkSport at 8 o'clock this evening. There's a hospital pass to Dalot. Allows Plzen to come forward with Soiree, the left wing back. Plzen matching up Amorim's 3-4-3 formation tonight. As they are getting some joy out wide. Here's Dalot though, back facing his own goal, and Arna wanted the ball played back to him. Dalot instead opts to play it upfield to Joshua Zirkzee. Not a single attempt on target from either team so far. Plzen have the ball with Duer on halfway, 0-0.
I do think we've got to think to ourselves, it's not going to be one of those really exciting games, or United are going to, come
Don't
here.
tell the listeners that.
No, but got to be realistic of what this game is about. This game is about being gritty, being tough, not giving away goals. Individual errors have we seen from United at recent times, both under Ten Hag and also Amorim as well. So it's going to be tight.
Lovely touch from Zirkzee after Casemiro fizzed the ball forward. Here's Fernandes, edge of the area, shoots right-footed, took a bobble. Good save, Jedlicka down to his right. That was crisp from Manchester United. A quick-fire attack, and Fernandes almost finding the bottom corner. Decent save.
Yeah, and it's going to be tight, and you've got to realise that, it's a tough game, and to come away with 3 points if they can would be brilliant, but that's what you want to see. Bruno Fernandes, he's acting like a captain, a leader on the pitch there, put in a great ball just a couple of minutes ago on a set piece, then finds himself running from the halfway line, runs all the way to 20 yards out. It's a really good strike, and it's a really good save as well. Just Zirkzee's not quite able to read it once the keeper palms it out, but it is one of these games that's, United almost just, you need to make sure you keep a clean sheet, and even if it's a 0-0, it's not the worst result in the world.
Mate Vidra has been bundled over by Mazraoui. The Moroccan is flabbergasted. A free kick has been given, but it's in a promising position. Left-hand side, not too far shy of the 18-yard line. You are listening to Viktoria Plzen against Manchester United in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever the mission, home or away. Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Decent set-piece opportunity, Scott Minto.
Yeah, and again, we've seen United concede from set pieces, and now this is another little test. Can you handle it? And it will be interesting to see. Again, it's all about the delivery.
You would put it, wouldn't you, right in front of the goalkeeper, based on what we've seen in the opening 33 minutes from Andre Onana. Lucas Kalvac, the captain, who got the late winner against Real Sociedad earlier in the competition, is going to whip this in right-footed. Bruno Fernandes with a header up, but not really away. Mazraoui completes the clearance, but he's brought down by Suarez. Left foot volley deflected back into the penalty area, and again Fernandes doing his defensive duty, brings the ball down and then clears it right-footed up to the halfway line.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the best of balls again. Not seen too much quality apart from that one cross from Bruno Fernandes.
That's better from Onana. A long diagonal pass from the right-back position, plucked from the sky by the Manchester United goalkeeper, right on the edge of the area, and he quickly plays it out to Ahmad on this right-hand side. 0-0 with 12 minutes of the first half to play. They've gone back into their own half with Martinez. I wonder if Ahmad could have been a bit more positive there.
Yeah, there were two defenders chasing him, but I just thought almost just kick the ball ahead, and he's really quick, isn't he? And just test the pace of the people trying to chase him. In the end, he turned round and played the safe option, and I just wonder, you know, whether with a little bit of time, once they start winning games, back-to-back victories, that then he would have just absolutely gone for it.
They have only lost one of their last 16 in this competition, Manchester United. That was when they were knocked out by Sevilla a few seasons ago now. Ball is on the halfway line, and Matthijs de Ligt sliding in to make sure that United have it. Now Casemiro skips away from one challenge, prods the ball forward to Rashford, who under pressure manages to find Fernandes inside the centre circle. Fernandes looking for Xerxes. Xerxes immediately tries to flick it forward for Rashford, but it's cleared away by Samson Douer in the heart of that three-man Plzen backline. 10 minutes to play until half-time, 0-0.
Bruno Fernandes, best player on the pitch at the moment. He's looking good when he's on the set pieces. He's also trying to boss it in midfield, playing little 1-2s. He's already had that shot on target, the only one so far we've had.
Yeah, only shot on target from either side, but it stays goalless. Here is Matthijs de Ligt. For all the chopping and changing that Amorim has done so far, as he almost goes on a voyage of discovery as Manchester United manager, de Ligt does seem to be a mainstay in that back three. Here's Bruno Fernandes, he's most certainly a mainstay in midfield, the captain. Although sometimes he plays in the 10, sometimes he plays deeper, as he is tonight alongside Casemiro.
Yeah, I think against the real top teams, I don't think he's a central midfielder in that 3-4-2-1. I think he's one of those two number 10s. It's just really interesting to see what, after another half a dozen games, Ruben Amorim has to come to a point where he's saying, right, this is my best 11 and I'm going to play this. So, one, when is that going to happen, and two, what's the 11 going to be? Really interesting.
Just seen a close-up clip of the Manchester United manager on our monitor, a shake of the head from Ruben Amorim. He certainly isn't one to hide his emotions on the touchline, is he? Always animated, always pretty transparent as well. The ball has been kicked out here because Vacheline, the captain, is down with a head injury as he went to compete with Martinez. I think Martinez just led with the left arm and caught Vacheline on the top of his head. As we welcome listeners from TalkSport, we've got 10 minutes of the first half to play here. Chances in short supply. Bruno Fernandes from distance did force one good save from Jedlicka, the Plzen goalkeeper, but at the moment, Scott, it's all very attritional.
No, it is. It's, as I say, it's a scrappy game, but we're expecting that. It's cold, the pitch is bobbly, and they're very good, Plzen at home, unbeaten all season, so it's always going to be a tough game. But in terms of how they bossed it, or who's been the better of the two sides, it's been United. They've had 75% possession so far, and they have come closest to scoring. They just need to make sure at some point they do create more chances, and one of those chances get the goal, because it is really important they come away with all 3 points tonight if they can.
Joshua Xerxes has just been penalised for a foul there. I thought it was him who was being held by the Plzen defender. Free kick comes to nothing, and United looking to build again with Fernandes initially. Scoops the ball out to his left-hand side, and Tyrell Malacia, but again they've slowed the game down, United, and Plzen have got men back there. As Fernandes looks for Rashford, it's cleared away, and it stays Viktoria Plzen 0, Manchester United 0. Here's Casemiro, Plays it through the legs of the captain Bachelet, and it's cleared away by Douet. And Manchester United will have a throw on the right-hand side, level with the Plzen technical area. Miroslav Kubek, the home coach, in his third spell in charge. He led them to the Czech title in 2015. This is Lisandro Martinez, who comes over halfway with 7 minutes to play in this first half. You already start to feel that the first goal could be really important here. If United get it, it will be a case of just managing the tempo of the game. But if Plzen get their noses in front with the home crowd behind them, it might be difficult for Ruben Amorim's side to come back. Here's Dalot taking on Soiré, but Soiré does well, gets his body between Dalot and the goal, and will try and clear this left-footed. Dalot still trying to pen them back down by the right corner flag, but they played their way out neatly here. Plzen, a combination of Soiré and Pavel Schalk. Firm but fair challenge from Matthijs de Ligt on Vacheline, gives away a throw-in.
Someone's got to help Darlow out there. He's tried to go down the right wing, and I have to say, Suarez defended very, very well, and not just in that particular instant. And then they're almost playing between the two of them, and Darlow's going through a little bit of doggies back and forth. Someone's got to push in and try and help, especially when they're right by the corner flag.
Bruno Fernandes sweeps the ball out to the left of Malassi. Here's Lisandro Martinez, just inside the United half, forward to Rashford. First time layoff, back to Martinez. Then de Ligt under pressure from Vacheline, plays it back to Onana in goal. Wolf whistles from the home supporters as United keep possession, but not really in an area where they're going to hurt their host. Goalless it remains with 39 on the clock now, and Xerxes was being held there inside his own half, and it will be a free kick. It was the Serbian Markovic who was just a bit too robust in the challenge.
No, but good play from Xerxes there. That was the physical battle, almost sending a message to the centre half that, yeah, you can try and get round me, but I'm stronger than you. So well done from him.
Here's Martinez for United, down the left-hand side. Again, not too much movement ahead of him, so he's going to go all the way back to de Ligt. Usually the furthest back of that three-man United defence. And Arna now in possession, looks up, assesses his options, plays it short to Mazraoui on the edge of the penalty area. Of all the signings that United made in the summer, £200 million worth, Mazraoui at £17 million, looks like the pick of them so far. So, ball with a lot of pace on it that Onana played out to Martinez. On this surface, I'm not entirely sure that's what you should be doing. Forward it goes to Joshua Xerxes, dispossessed this time by Markovic, and Plzen have it back.
And that's where Xerxes needs to be stronger. I mean, United fans will know about the guy I'm about to talk to that I played with, Mark Hughes. You play the ball up to him and he can have two defenders hanging off him and bring the ball down and play his midfield in. When you're away from home, you've got to be stronger than that.
Funnily enough, that came up on the Inside Devils YouTube show this week. You can find it on the usual TalkSport platforms. Ollie Murs, our special guest, and he was bemoaning Rasmus Højlund as a number 9, not holding the ball up properly. Is that fair?
No, it is fair, but I don't think he was ready. He's an incredibly talented player. He's very quick, he's strong. He didn't even hit double figures in Italy in Serie A. And you expected him, with him being so young as well, to be the number 9 for arguably the biggest club in the world. And be that focal point. The shirt for Manchester United weighs so heavy, even more so for the striker, especially if you're the lone striker. I just think I get the kind of buy for the future and, you know, try and get them young if you can, but in that position it's so key. You have to buy for the here and now as well. Seasoned senior pro who you know will score goals on a regular basis as well as hold the ball up.
Free kick for Plzen, midway inside the United half. Soiré plays it into the penalty area, it flicks off a Plzen head and behind for a goal kick. 0-0 it remains.
And they spent a lot of money on him as well, didn't they? You know, buying for the future for, what was it, £70 million? Xerxes was half that. I don't think either of them really have shown that they can take United to where they want to be.
One of the debates we had, though, if you're saying that United need a season number 9, where do they get one from? Because I think there's a reason that Arsenal haven't signed one. It's not because Mikel Arteta doesn't want to play with a striker. I think it's because they're just not out there, are there? There's a lot of talk about Victor Gyökeres. This was a player who was let go by Brighton, by the way.
No, agreed. But, you know, go back a couple of seasons and maybe Daniel Levy would never have sold Harry Kane to another team in England. But, you know, he could have had another year and then gone on a free contract.
Rashford gives the ball away again, can't hold it up on the halfway line. He is not having a good night, Marcus Rashford.
No, there's Victor Osimhen as well, who perhaps they could have took a punt on. Ivan Toney as well. Maybe the financial deal wasn't enough, or wasn't good enough for them.
Xerxes robbed inside the United half, and they're growing in confidence here, Pilsen. Serve out to the right-hand side, deep delivery. Onana probably should have come for it, stayed on his line. It's headed away by Dalot in the end, and Bruno Fernandes again is doing his defensive duty. Can't keep the ball. Jamelka in the left wing position. We've got 2.5 minutes and a half to play. They won't want to concede here, Manchester United. Good challenge by Xerxes, but still Pilsen come forward, and Suarez with a curling effort, right-footed, just wide, 0-0.
It's a decent strike, wasn't it? It looked as if it was really wide and was not going to trouble Onana at all, and then it bent in. It was a great strike in the end. I think it could have been a foul there actually from Xerxes on the edge of the box, but the referee played the advantage. Again, I don't really want my number 9s coming back that deep when you're on the edge of the box. Let that dealing with the midfield, or maybe even one of the 2 number 10s. But in the end, it's a decent opportunity, and you're absolutely right, Crookie. The last thing United want to do, and okay, they haven't been brilliant in terms of creating lots of chances, but they have dominated this game in terms of possession. The last thing they want to do is be conceding just before half-time.
Suarez plays it back to his goalkeeper, Jedlicka. We've only got 90 seconds and a half to play. Long ball upfield by Jedlicka. Well won, Fernandes. Rashford doesn't look up, passes it straight to Jamelka. I'm not sure how many times in this first half Rashford has found a teammate.
Yeah, I feel your pain. I'm not trying to look for the positives, but there's been a couple of times where he's tried something different.
Here he is again, Rashford. This time he does pick out Amad down the right-hand side. 0-0 the score into the last minute of the first half.
But he just looks like when he gets the ball, he's not ready to go. He doesn't know what he's already going to do and needs to take an extra touch or two. And don't get me wrong, the pitch is bad here, but all the top players, they know what they're going to do before they even receive the ball, and he just looks a little bit slow and cumbersome.
Martinez into Rashford, turning inside the penalty area, looking for Xerxes. That was well defended by Markovic, slides in and clears, but it's picked up by Malacia. Suddenly it's United who are ending the half the strongest, and it's Rashford here on the edge of the penalty area into Bruno Fernandes. Can he pick out a teammate in white? Fernandes rolls it to his right-hand side, and Mazraoui. Amad pokes it out to Dalot on this near touchline. We're about to see how many added minutes there will be. Dalot tries to take on Suarez, fails to do so. Suarez slides in. Vidra lets it run underneath his studs, and here come Pilsen on the attack. It's very open all of a sudden. Serve has been fouled by Rashford, and that may well be the first yellow card of the evening.
It is, and it does sum up his first half really, doesn't it? Again, just not reading the situation, not dropping in at all first, and then it looks like he's trying to get back, but he isn't, and just pushes him over. No complaints whatsoever, not even trying to make an attempt with the ball with his feet, and just has both hands on his back.
3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. You're listening to TalkSport 2. Viktoria Plzen 0, Manchester United 0. Free kick played forward. Here's serve. Right-footed cross for the left-hand side. Martinez leaps well and nods it clear, and then Rashford helps it away into the centre circle. Will come forward again. Malacia misses his header. Another opportunity for Vacheline to try and get himself into a crossing position down the right-hand side. Casemiro plays it against Vacheline, sensible, and it's out for a throw.
We discussed it, didn't we, on the Premier League All Access podcast? What's going to happen with Marcus Rashford? Who's going to come in for him with the fee that they'd want, and even if they don't want that much, the wages that he would want, that he's already on at the moment, and he's got a long-term contract. Really important for amorim to try and somehow get the best of him. But what he's seen so far, again, you don't always have to be brilliant, but you have to look as if you want him to be as sharp as possible, and he hasn't so far in this first half.
What can he do here, Rashford? He's picked up the ball from Dalot, comes in field, finds Fernandes. Fernandes out to the left of Malacia. They've got 2 in the centre, over the head of Xerxes, nodded away, but it should be picked up by Mazraoui on the edge of that Pilsen penalty area, away to our right. Here's Dalot now, into Amad. Amad 5 yards outside the box. He's going to switch the play to Malacia. He brings it down neatly. Again, I think he wanted Rashford to make a run ahead of him there. Rashford comes infield. Little Rabona from Fernandes. Rashford with a cross straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. You're listening to Viktoria Plzen against Manchester United in the Europa League, live on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans